Hi, my name is Trang Nguyen. I just got interviewed by the Keith Andrew Network, and it was an amazing experience and opportunity. So thank you very much, and I hope you guys enjoy the show.
3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the one and only KeithAndrewNetwork. Available on LinkedIn, YouTube, and all social media. Today, we're here with a beautiful guest, only here on the KeithAndrewNetwork. With that being said, the first question I want to talk to you about, first subject actually, it's icebreakers. Tell our audience a little bit about your background and the type of work that you do now.
So I'm a middle school teacher. I teach 7th and 8th grade. I teach home ec. I teach them nutrition, how to find a job, all the adulting life skills. And I'm a single mother of 2 children, 2 teens, 12 and 14. So I have a lot of experience with children.
No, I agree. It's not to put you on the spot, but you are an inspiration of all single mothers out there saying, and you have the heart and passion, and you can just do it. It's not easy, but just by doing the job, you're a real inspiration. I know I just completely butchered that whole thing, but I'm not kissing your ass or anything. But I understand, I have seen, not to get too personal, my 2 brothers, their relationships didn't go as planned, and they were single parents, and it's not easy, but just take it one day at a time, and things will work out for the best, knock on wood.
Yeah.
But not to get too personal, I do apologize.
It's okay.
But the next one I do want to ask you is, what did you major in? I know you're a teacher, but did you go to college to become a teacher?
No, I actually started with vocational school in high school. I went to culinary school with the intentions of becoming a baker. But then I got pregnant with my son, and I realized that career was not ideal. So I decided to go into education, just so that my schedule would align with my kids' schedules. And right now it's like the perfect schedule because I work at my kids' school.
Oh, that's perfect. So you can keep an eye on them.
Yeah, they always stop by during the day just to say hi or get some snacks.
Well, if they have like a boring class, they can always skip and just hang out with you.
Yeah, it's rare that they do that, but they every now and then they might come over and just say, "Hey, mom, can I just sit in here?"
Do you ever it's like, shouldn't you be somewhere? Oh, no, forget it. I know where you are. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
So the next one I want to ask you is, were you a study nerd or party animal?
You got to have a little bit of balance. I mean, there was a time when I was studying and going to school, working like 2 jobs and the kids and school. And then, I made sure that I had me time as well. So I think there has to be a balance.
I agree. And if you're wondering why I'm wearing the sunglasses, is I blink too much and it kind of makes me look like I have Tourette's. And I'm staring at you right now, but my right eye, my left eye, I'm looking at you. My right eye, occasionally I would look up and at the camera. I know you're not supposed to make eye contact with the camera.
Okay.
So with the glasses, it hides that. So I'm not kind of.
It's okay. I like it. I actually thought they were real sunglasses for a second.
Well, I can wear actual sunglasses, but the problem is I can't read what's on the cards.
Yeah, it's okay. I like it.
No, I appreciate it. So the other one I want to ask you is, you mentioned home ec. I do want to talk to you about that in a couple minutes, but I do want to finish the icebreakers first.
Sure.
Did you do any sports for you? Did you play any sports?
In high school, I played basketball and I was a goalie for lacrosse. And then as an adult, I actively played in adult basketball leagues. I played basketball, broomball, soccer, and softball.
For me, I can't wrestle myself out of a wet paper bag. I can kick a ball, but I don't have the hand-eye coordination. So I bet you can do laps around me.
Yeah.
You
I,
play.
I mean,
Uh, uh,
there's I mean, it just depends on, what you're interested in. I like to try everything just to see like, what I like, what I don't like, because if I don't try it, I'm not gonna know. So you'll be surprised to find out like, oh, I'm actually good at this sport. So I would encourage you just to try it.
no, I agree. Now, the next one I'm going to ask you because you mentioned you can try anything and just go out and try it. A lot of people say I'm a loser for this, but what the hell? Did you ever get the chance to do one of those human pyramids, or are you not into the whole human pyramid stuff?
No, I didn't get a chance to do that. That sounds like fun though. I mean, I would love to maybe one day do it.
Hey, maybe you can work it out. But I'm a loser. I always like that type of thing.
You're not a loser. It's a I like when people tell me about things that I don't know about because I like learning. So you're not a loser. I think you're pretty cool.
I appreciate that. I always say to myself, you are your own worst enemy.
Yeah, I believe that.
This one you got to find really interesting. What makes you different from the competition?
Different from competition. I would say I'm genuine. I mean, it's really hard to find genuine people, genuine, trustworthy, honest. Um, I'd say that is a rare quality nowadays with people. So I would say that makes me stand out is that I'm just a genuine, kind person.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I was told yesterday when I did an interview, what made me different is how I approach people. My sister likes to tell me I'm socially awkward and I can't hold a conversation. She's right. I don't mean to be socially awkward. It's just part of my disability is I don't process something before going into it. So I come
Mhm.
off socially awkward. But the message that I sent to you and sent to everyone else is, hey, my name's Keith Andrew and I have a disability. And then a lot of people are like, well, if you really want to come at it like you're a caveman or a Neanderthal and not hide it, mission accomplished. But that's the fact. You were upfront and say, you know what? I want to be a talk show host. I learn on a spectrum of being retarded. But look what I was able to do for 10 and a half years. Thanks to you. I think your episode 1037 or
Wow.
1038. I'm not really sure. But that's the facts like, oh, he's on the spectrum or he's on this. But 10 and a half years, look at what I was able to accomplish. And you are a big inspiration in that area too. It's like, don't let people say, you know, count their chickens before they hatch. If you have passion and you can see it through, as I'm a big Dragon Ball fan, when there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, I believe it.
So the
I
next,
100% agree with everything you said.
I appreciate that. The last three questions I want to ask you. The first one is, do you have any success stories? I know you are a teaser, but what's some of your favorite success stories?
Honestly, I feel like, like when you watch a movie or read a book and you're like, whoa, they overcame a lot. I feel like that's my life. Like I came from a poor, like, dysfunctional family. Um, and I just worked my way up. I mean, at one point I was homeless, pregnant and homeless, and I was by myself. And then, I ended up finishing college. I bought a house, I bought a vehicle. Now I have started my career. So I would say like, I mean, everyone's definition of success is different, but I would say like from where I came from, I would say I came a long way, just overcoming a lot of obstacles and getting to where I am today, to where I'm creating a life for my kids that the best life that I could imagine for them. So that would be my definition of being successful.
Well, let me ask you this because we're in about the same age range. I'm 35, but just throwing it out there, conversation wise.
Yeah.
But the reason I bring it up is look at it from our point of view, then look at it from our parents' point of view. Our parents, you say, you have to go to college, get a house, get married, get a white picket fence for God knows why. The white doesn't have to be white. Yeah, but you have a house, raise a family, but along the lines, it's kind of like you don't have to go to college, you don't have to get married, you don't have to
Right.
have kids. So, are you, if you don't mind me for asking, what year were you born? Were you like a millennial
I was
or?
I was born in 89, so I'm 33 right now.
Hey, I was born in '88, so I guess that would consider us both millennials.
Yeah, I like saying I was born in the 80s just for just for laughs because a lot of people are like, you don't qualify, you're a 90s baby, and I'm like, I was born in the 80s.
And the '80s had some great cartoons. He-Man,
Yeah,
Transformers, MTV was MTV.
it was actually a music channel. Yeah,
Actually, if
that's
you have Optimum in the 800s, there's stations where you can just listen to 24/7 rock, country, and jazz. It's actually really nice.
oh wow. Okay. I didn't know that.
Doing a little plug for Optimum. They should pay me for that, right?
Right.
So the other one I want to ask you is what is coming up on the horizon and where are you headed to next?
So I finally feel settled. I moved to Texas from Buffalo, New York, during COVID, and I've been down here for about 3 years. So I finally feel like I found a place where I'm settling. My workplace is better than I can imagine. So I'm really excited to just see what's next for my career. I mean, obviously I try to build and become a better teacher than I was the year before, or, try to be the best teacher I can for these students. But I think this coming school year, I would like to challenge myself to maybe get out there and do something that like terrifies me, such as doing maybe competing in like state competitions, bringing my kids to compete in state. I've never done any of those competitions. So I would like to try it and just step out of my comfort zone because I feel that if I can imagine myself doing it, I think I can be pretty like I feel pretty confident in myself. It's just taking that step, that leap of faith, doing something different. So I'm excited about that.
It's funny. I always wanted to be on American Idol or Canadian Got Talent. And they're like, well, what are you going to do? You don't have a talent. And being a talk show host isn't a real talent. But
I think it's a talent. Not everyone can run a talk show host, you know what I mean? So that's your own unique talent. I think it's a talent.
that's true. But let me ask you, do you think it'd be good enough to try out for America Got Talent, or they want actually someone with talent?
Listen, it doesn't matter what anyone thinks. If you want to go try it just for fun, or if you think you can make it, I encourage you to go do it because all that really matters is how you think, like how you feel about yourself. And you won't know unless you try it. So I would encourage you just to go try it.
I agree. Now, I want to ask you a couple of questions about being a teacher. The first one is you mentioned this in the beginning, home ec. When I was in high school, they used to call it team life skills. And
Mhm.
it used to teach you, how to cook and that's really about it. But to be honest, I feel I could have gotten a lot more out of it. Okay, for an example, what I mean by that, how to balance a checkbook,
Mhm.
how to keep the IRS happy, how to pay your taxes, how to pay your rent, how do you anything in the real world. Yes, it's great that it teaches you. I know how to make eggs and occasionally French toast, but how's that going to pay my bills? How's that going to say, oh, Keith, your IRS bill's good. Oh, okay. Well, can I pay you in eggs? But you know what I mean? It's a good class to have, but I feel there should be something a little more stands, you know the word I'm trying to find.
Yeah, Actually, in my field, they changed the name to Family and Consumer Sciences. So it's like a very large umbrella of topics. And what I like to do in my class, I like to teach a little bit of everything. And I like to just basically, I want to set my students up for success. So I'm teaching them things that I know that they're going to need that I had to learn on my own. So I'm essentially I'm trying to become, or I am the person that I needed when I was younger. So I did teach them how to balance a checkbook, but I made it fun. They didn't know what they were doing, but I used it as a classroom management where I uh gave them an allowance or whatever, and they had to enter it in with a description and how much, and then if they bought a toy, I would have prizes for them. If they bought a toy, they would have to deduct it and keep the
That's the type of thing we should learn. Obviously, today, not a lot of people walk around with checks or write checks anymore. Me and my dad walk around with credit cards. I occasionally walk around with cash. So, for an example, my dad's like, "Oh, we're gonna order out for dinner." Like, okay, here's $20. What am I supposed to do with this? Oh, I can just
Yeah.
take it from your account. But that's the thing. If I'm writing checks to walk around with cash, it's everything is being electronic. But with your students, how do you make it more engaging?
Well, I like to teach them multiple ways to do things. I mean, just because it's done one way doesn't mean it's the only way. And sometimes electronically there can be or mistakes too. So it's nice to know how to do it another way, just in case. Like let's say like a calculator. You can do math by hand or you can punch in a calculator. But if you don't have a calculator, then you got to know how to do it by hand. So I like to teach them how to do things multiple ways, and sometimes some kids like it one way and sometimes they like it the other. So like just to let them know that they have options.
No, I agree. One funny team rice skills class, not a lot of people notice about me because I mentioned this in the beginning, is I don't know, I like circus acts. I'm a loser. And during our we had a group. Sorry, just trying to get my mind straight. We had a group project. Okay, get a group of people and do something constructive. And I'm like, okay, a lot of people are gonna do cooking, a lot of people are gonna do artwork. And you say, be original. How can I be original? We have like four people, and each of us have to contribute to something. Why not do a human pyramid? And the reason I said that is each person is going to contribute something. And how do these four people or five people or whatever number can contribute is you're building a base and you're building like a stack of cards. And
Mhm.
each time that you go up higher, it's a level of an accomplishment that you came together, you built a goal, and you're setting an example for people out there saying, hey, these people don't know each other for a hole in the wall, but they came together for a common cause and they built a project. And then she looked at me and said, no, that's not going to happen. I didn't want a debate with her, but now looking back, maybe I should. You did say be original and do a group project where everyone has a part. Did you or did you not say everyone has to take part and contribute? And it's like, oh, blah, blah, blah.
The thing
But
is, like, a lot of teachers, when they give the assignment, sometimes kids give ideas that like how they interpret it or how they envision it. And yeah, I always tell the students, like, listen, if that's how you want to do it, like I always give my kids the option. I'm like, go for it, like try it out. Like you won't know unless you try. So I always encourage them to just go with it. Like I try not to discourage any kids. I try not to say, oh, you can't do that. I'm like, okay, try it, go for it. Like, or it's a good idea, because I don't want, I want them to feel like their idea is valid, their idea is a good idea. Just because if I can't see it or understand it doesn't mean it's not a good idea.
yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's funny, 16 now, I'm only 35. We're about in the same age range. I'm
Mhm.
only 35. 16 years ago, when I graduated high school, my teacher always liked ram this down my throat. you're not always going to have a calculator wherever you go.
Mm,
Really, I have a Apple Watch, I have a phone, and you
yeah.
have Siri wherever you go. So it's kind of okay, be fair, 16 years ago, we didn't really have that technology. But now,
Yeah.
all you have to do is look at your watch, and boom, now you have a walking, talking calculator.
Yeah. But I mean, it's also good. Like, what if you're somewhere where you don't have a charger or
Yeah.
it's not working or no network or signal? You know what I mean? Like, it's always good to know like another way. Like just to keep in your back pocket.
No, you're absolutely right. What I'm going to do, I'm going to pass the show over to you. It's the last 8 minutes. Was there anything that you're working on, anything you want to promote? I have no cards up my sleeve, so you can ask me anything you want.
Um, I mean, what I'm working on right now, I'm trying to learn how to be a community organizer. What I want to use my experiences to help others. So what I'm really big on is I'm a survivor of domestic violence, so I want to advocate for that, and then also for like for children, especially students like with mental illness and things of that sort, because I'm going through it, I'm dealing with it. So that's something that I'm really big on. So that's like my next project is try to um, work on community outreach and programs for the community to just benefit the people in general. So that's like my big project that I'm working on.
No, absolutely. And it hasn't happened to me personally, but I have seen people through domestic disputes and violence. Not to get to go too deep in that, but it's in a relationship, it has to be 50-50. I give you an example I'm talking about real fast. I met this cute girl that I was working with, and she's like, I was like, oh, maybe we can hang out sometime. Yeah, my boyfriend doesn't really like that. He's very protective, wink, wink. And I'm like, well,
Hmm.
that's not how a relationship works. A
Yeah.
relationship is I give you trust me, and it's 50-50. And that's my parents been married together for 46 years. Of course, they had their ups and downs, but in a relationship, it has to be balanced. You can't say, oh, I have to listen to my husband or my wife has my a ball and chain because you're only setting yourself up for failure. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree. I think if you can't be yourself without fearing the other person, then it's not a healthy relationship. You should be able to be yourself and you guys should be able to build each other up and be supportive of each other. And it's all about communication. I mean, I've learned that it comes down to communication is the big part of it that most people struggle with. So I encourage like all of my students to speak up for themselves. And I'm like, listen, I might be an adult, but if I'm wrong, like challenge me, like I'm not going to get mad at you, like challenge me, you might be teaching me something. So I always just try to encourage them to use their voice because so many people nowadays like are afraid to use their voice. So um I hope I can get people to use their voice more in the coming future. So I'm excited for that next project.
No, absolutely. And are you still teaching? And would you consider teaching? I know I asked this earlier, but would you be considering going to high school? Or it's like, at this point, middle school or younger is where it's best suited.
Yeah, I really like the middle school age because that's where they're kind of like in the weird transition of like, hey, who am I or what like, what group do I belong? Like, they're just trying to figure themselves out. So I really enjoy middle school. I haven't taught elementary yet, but that's gonna be a big transition if I do decide to do that. But as of right now, I want to stay with the middle schoolers.
No, I agree. Now, what's the other question I want to ask is, do you have any funny stories that has happened to you over the years? And have you ever pulled any pranks on the people?
Uh, let's see. I don't know about any pranks, but I try to have fun. Like I joke with my kids, my students, and I try to make it enjoyable. Like I want them to, if they're having a bad day or a bad home life, I want them to at least feel safe and happy for that 55 minutes that I have them. So I would say we have a lot of fun. We have a lot of like jokes, and I don't take a lot of things seriously like traditional teachers per se. But I joke with my kids, and I think we have a good time together. Like, but I like building the relationship with them.
Do you make your lessons entertainable, or do you just like one of those teachers where like you're straight to the point? Because my dad's a former teacher, and he it's pretty much you mentioned 55 minutes. For me in high school, it's 44 minutes, whatever it is now. But the point is, if you're teaching history, or math lesson, you have to engage with your students, and you have to make them, excited. Like you have to make it entertainment. Right? I'm butchering the word, but you probably know what I'm talking about. If you're
Yeah.
more cartoony and interactive, the more they're gonna appreciate it and it's going to sink in. Because I bet you had teachers growing up that it's like, man, this guy is so bored. What the hell is he talking about?
Yeah.
But wanting you want to be called the cool teacher, I bet you are. The cool teacher. It's like you can make this boring class exciting, and people that actually give a damn.
Yeah, they call me the food teacher because like when we're cooking, random kids will stop by and be like, "Hey, do you got food?" or "Hey, can I have one?" or "Hey, can I have some?" or "Can I come during lunch?" Like, so I'm known as like the food lady, and they think it's so cool that they get to cook in school and they get to eat it. So they really enjoy my class because I try to stimulate it like the real world in a sense, like how they behave, how they talk to each other. So just trying to prepare them for the real world, but they don't know they're doing it, they're just doing it. So I think it's pretty cool to watch them grow.
Absolutely. Now I'm going to ask you one last question, and we can talk off the air. I want you to be brutally honest. When I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what made you say yes? How do you feel now? And would you recommend it to other people? Being brutally honest.
Sure. Honestly, I was really excited because I've never been invited to be a guest on any show. And now that I've done it, I'm like, I want to do more of these. Like, I really like someone interviewing me and just talking, like, and I get to say, what's on my mind or how I feel, how I think. So I would definitely recommend your show and being interviewed because I feel like it's a very nice experience. And I feel like it's a good opportunity to get to know you as well. And I don't know, it's just I think it's so cool.
No, I appreciate that. And now, how can our fans and listeners get in touch with you?
So right now I just have Instagram and TikTok. I post a lot on Instagram. My handle is GCFAN for life. GC stands for Good Charlotte. I was a really big Good Charlotte fan. I decided I'll be a fan for life, so that's been my username for the past 20 years. So if anyone wants to find me, that's how they find me.
No, absolutely. This episode will be shared on all social medias. If you watch, you definitely have to leave a comment. We would both like to interact with you. But wrapping up, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. One thing I do want to say, this Saturday is the 10-year anniversary of the Keith Andrew Network. And if you're available to make it, you're more than welcome to watch it. It will be at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock West time. And I send an open invite to you. I would love to have you as a guest. We probably can talk about that off the air. Wrapping up, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. And until we meet again, catch you later.
Thank you.
Thank you, and have a good night.